Acknowledge our great citizens tonight, but we can't start for 4.5 minutes. So relax, have a juice, and all of council's all here 5 minutes early, which is truly a historic event. Good evening. We'll call this meeting of Owen Sound City Council to order. I'd like to welcome everyone here this evening. It's an exciting evening for all of us to be here in our new and improved City Council chamber here in Owen Sound at City Hall. And I want to congratulate Craig Rupenthal, the IT staff, city manager, and all other staff involved in getting this done in, I'm not going to say anything about the length of time, but I am going to say that it stood the test of the huge rainstorm that we had last week, and there was not one leak in the roof at City Hall, so that's a good thing. So congratulations and thank you. I will ask if there are any disclosures of pecuniary interest this evening. Oh, Councillor Adair.
Thank you, Your Worship. I declared a pecuniary interest in the public meeting on zoning last our last council meeting, and I will declare that again for the minutes tonight. So I will be voting for the minutes, but not for those minutes.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any additional items? Oh, Councillor McManaman.
Thank you, Worship. Just a similar item as Councillor Dare. There's the matter in the operations minutes that I declared a pecuniary interest, so I will be declaring that as well for the minutes, but voting in favor of the rest of the minutes.
Okay. Anyone else? Seeing none. Additional items for tonight. Any members of council have additional items? I have a couple of additional items, one with regards to June 13th low lake levels meeting, and one with regards to appointment to a provincial association of a city employee. We do not have a faith blessing this evening, so I'll invite yes, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship. There is one additional item. It is an extra bylaw coming forward this evening. That's bylaw 2013-108. It will be a bylaw to establish a policy governing the designation of an event as municipally significant with respect to applications for special occasion permits.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of staff? Mr. Furnesh.
An additional item related to vendor RFP.
Okay. Any other members of staff? Get used to this new seating arrangement here. Got the ones back there that keeps the one up here honest. Oh, yeah. Okay, we do not have a faith blessing this evening. However, I will ask those present to join me as we have just a moment of silent reflection, please. Thank you. Could I have confirmation of the minutes of regular council from May the 6th, please?
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Body that the minutes of the regular meeting of City Council held on May 6, 2013 as printed be adopted.
Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? The motion is carried. Minutes of the public meeting held on May 6th, please.
Do you want to move that one, Arlene? Yeah, but I'm declaring a pecuniary interest on the issue.
That's fine.
Sorry.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Body, that the minutes of the public meeting of City Council held on May 6, 2013, as printed, be adopted.
Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. We have minutes of the special council meeting held on May 14th.
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Body that the minutes of the special meeting of City Council held on May 14th, 2013 as printed be adopted.
Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. And a resolution moving council and committee of the whole, please.
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Body that City Council now go into committee of the whole to consider public meetings, deputations, public question period, matters arising from correspondence, reports, matters tabled, motions for which notice was previously given, and other business.
All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. We do not have any public meetings this evening. We do, however, have some presentations, and I will just take leave to go down to the podium to make those presentations, if you just bear with me. I'm not sure how I feel about Doug Ball being here with the camera, but anyway, I have to say thank you, Brenda. And Councillor McManaman, as Chair of Parks and Recreation Committee, I was wondering if you could join me and give me a hand in doing these awards. Councillor McManaman's also going to be presenting on behalf of our MP and our MPP, I understand? Good. Thank you. It's very very awkward because I have my back to you, so I'm feeling quite awkward about this, so just bear with me while I talk to this wall, and know that if I had eyes in the back of my head, I would be looking at you. Okay. We are here this evening to celebrate the work of volunteers in the city of Owen Sound. This evening is about recognizing the efforts and achievements of those who dedicate their time and abilities to helping others. Volunteers are indeed the backbone of many organizations, and they are generous of their time and their labor and are committed to the community. Volunteers are people from all walks of life. What they have in common is the desire to make a positive difference in their community. The citizens we are honoring tonight exemplify these traits, and we recognize them for their vital contribution to the strength and the pride that we have in our community. Our first Volunteer of the Year award recipient is Jean Wilson. Jean was nominated by Quota International for her 15 years plus of service to this organization. Jean has been a very active member with Quota International and has held various executive positions, including president, vice president, and secretary. Not only has she filled these executive positions, Jean has also chaired many committees, including the Christmas gift wrapping at Heritage Mall, Bingo's Breakfast Club at Sydenham School, the Holiday Tour of Homes, the Yellow Ribbon Campaign, and actively supports all other fundraising efforts within Quota. In Jean's church life, she has been an active participant in many areas of the St. George's Church for over 18 years. Some of the ways in which she has contributed include organizing and coordinating and teaching Sunday school, support for the junior choir, served on parish council, maintains the memorial garden, served on the stewardship committee, and I believe that that is just naming a few of the committees Jean has been active on. Jean has also been an active OSCVI alumni member, good school, since 1981. As an alumni member, she has contributed by assisting in organizing reunions, bike rallies, the co-chair of the fundraising committee, organizing, printing, and applying the donor names to the seat sponsorship in the auditorium. These events have been successful and well attended because of Jean's diligence and organizational skills and commitment to our city. Quota International is not the only organization to have benefited from Jean's exceptional volunteer work. This includes the Women's Shelter, Grey Roots Museum, teaching English to new residents, and most recently, Jean has participated in the new O'Share project in our community. For over 20 years, Jean has volunteered with Meals on Wheels, delivering meals and a smile whenever needed. Another one of Jean's skills is softball. Jean was president of girls minor softball for 7 years and coached for several years as well. Jean's an exceptional example of a person who is willing to give freely and without reserve. Jean is tireless. She's always ready, willing, and able to take on any task. She volunteers with enthusiasm and has an ability to inspire others. Jean's life skill has been to teach, and she continues to teach in a caring and encouraging manner. Jean is very diverse in her talents and is willing to assist in whatever way she can, and always does with a smile. It is important to note that Jean has been able to manage many of these volunteer activities at the same time, a multitasker. Quota International says that this award should be given to Jean to acknowledge her past, present, and ongoing contribution to the City of Owen Sound and the people who live here. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me as we recognize together Jean Wilson as the City of Owen Sound's Volunteer of the Year. Please.
I just want to say a very large Thank you. I feel very humbled by this evening, but I'm very appreciative as well. And thank you so much to my marvelous co-quotarians who have nominated me for this award. Thank you all so much.
Congratulations. Our second Volunteer of the Year award recipient is Mr. Lyle Love. Lyle was nominated by the Scenic City Order of Good Cheer for his 17 years plus of service to this organization. Lyle has held various positions, including director and associate board member, where he has spent countless of hours volunteering for fundraising events, organizing ticket sales, auctions, construction work, fish fries, and I'm sure that the list goes on and on and on. Some of the Scenic City Order of Good Cheer projects that Lyle has been involved in include Festival in the Park, upgrading the riverbeds, the walking trails, east and west side boat launches, the Bayshore gazebo, outdoor rink at Harrison Park, the splash pad at Kelso Beach, the bandshell at Grey Roots Museum. Lyle was instrumental in obtaining funds from Trillium for the betterment of the Good Cheer projects. Lyle has exceptional leadership skills, and combined with his strong work ethic, he's extremely valued at any club or organization he joins. Lyle has been a member of St. Andrew's Church for many years and has served in a number of leadership positions. Lyle is a man who gives generously of his time and expertise, and has been involved in various projects on various levels within his church as well. Lyle focuses his interest and attention on the outcome of his projects he becomes involved in. His commitment to this city and its people is evident in his steadfast and dedicated service to his fellow citizens and his community. As president of the Grey Granite Club, Lyle has volunteered for most fundraising events held at the Curling Club. Long after most participants have gone home, you would find Lyle and his wife Isabel finishing up in the kitchen or cleaning the hall. Lyle has volunteered as well at the Grey Roots Museum and Archives, where his passion for our community's heritage and history helped bring to fruition this area's regional museum. When Lyle was first invited to join the discussion for a new facility in 2003, Grey Roots Museum and Archives was just an idea. Lyle quickly became an instrumental, key member as a fundraiser in bringing the community stakeholders together. Lyle devoted much of his time and attention to bringing the former Owen Sound Heritage Village to its new home at Grey Roots. Lyle was also involved with the creation of the Community Foundation of Owen Sound, along with former Mayor Ovid Jackson. As a result of their work, the foundation was registered in June of 1994, and Lyle served for 3 years on the first board of directors. Lyle still actively supports the work of the foundation as a member of the Ambassador Committee. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me and join me in recognizing Lyle Love as a most deserving recipient as a Volunteer of the Year Award for the City of Owen Sound. Lyle? Congratulations. Please say a few words for later.
Please say a few words. When you're making all those announcements, Madam Mayor, where is that guy? He's a busy chap. I first want to congratulate Council on your new digs. Really, really nice. And I noticed senior staff up there sitting at the same level as Council. You don't have your back there, so you get a dart or two. So, but anyway, it is well past due to have this place renovated. So congratulations to you. You know, this is quite an honor. Really, it is quite an honor. And but it's a bit humbling too, because when I look around this room, particularly those guys that are in white shirts tonight, Any one of them could be up here getting the same award. And I thank you guys for pushing ahead with this. I said it's an honor, and that's what it is. Thank you. You know, volunteerism is really the foundation of your community, and there's so much of it. When you just step back and look at the arts, both the performing and the visual arts, the sports, soccer, ball, and all that parameter of sports, and then you get into the area of hospital volunteers. I'm sure that place couldn't even exist without the volunteers. And then you take a look at the churches, for example. The volunteers are the heart of that church. So it's really, really important that the spirit of volunteerism carries on in your community. I've lived in several communities, and I must say that Owen Sound has something in the water up here, because it's fantastic with its volunteers. Really, really fantastic. Just as an aside, when I was in Mississauga as the Commissioner of Recreation and Parks, we'd open up an arena, one arena for 20,000 people. We'd ask the community, say, can you raise some funds for the arena? We might get $5,000. Here in Owen Sound, you get about $1 million. So it just shows you how tight this community is. And we're really blessed with that. Another example, you know, I'm affiliated with the Scenic City Order of Good Cheer. And I know we don't always have good order, but we have a lot of cheer, you know. so that's makes things go. But anyway, we only have 15 directors, and we have no membership. We have no membership dues. We meet in the director's house or for a long time in a garage. Is that right, Ted? In a garage? It's our headquarters, and we beg space at a company's office or a vacant store. So that's the type of thing we have. And we have fundraisers, real good fundraisers, and the community comes out and supports us on that. And the projects that we have is fantastic. What I'm getting to here is when we need help, we just put out a call, and all kinds of volunteers come out. And it's so heartwarming when we have that. So I just want to plant a seed. The next time that you are considering doing a new logo or a new statement that you want on your letterhead or your calling cards or on your city signs, why don't you just put up there, City of Owen Sound, home of fantastic volunteers, come and join us. Thank you.
We have one more award to present this evening, and I'll ask Judy Chalmers. Are you here? There you are, right there. Judy Chalmers has been a volunteer at the Tom Thomson Art Gallery. You can come right up here. That's for the last 6 years, after retiring from a 35-year career in healthcare. In recognition of her dedication and committed contribution to our community, Judy has been awarded the Governor General's Caring Canadian Award. Judy is a vital and valued part of the team at the Tom. In her role of front desk gallery reception, Judy regularly contributes over 10 hours a week of volunteer work and provides a warm, genuine, and informative welcome to all. Judy is an exemplary volunteer. Her ability to work with people of all ages and from all spectrums of society is noted by all who know her, and I'm sure that the Governor General's Caring Canadian Award is not given away lightly. On behalf of the City of Owen Sound, I'd like to acknowledge your contribution and congratulate you. Thank you. Congratulations. Did you want to say anything? Thanks.
Thank you very much. You can imagine my surprise when I turned on my computer one morning and there was an email from the Governor General's office to say I was a recipient of this award. The Tom Thomson Art Gallery is a wonderful place to volunteer. It's one of several places that I have spent volunteer hours since my retirement from healthcare. And I just would like to echo what the others have said, what Jean and Lyle have said about volunteerism in the Owen Sound community. It's interesting that you go to volunteer in different locations, and you do see the same people. So there is a committed core of volunteers in this city, and they do a fantastic job. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and again, our congratulations and our thanks to all of the volunteers in the community, and particularly to the volunteers who lead the pack here tonight. So again, thank you so much. I would ask if our acting mayor for this month, Councillor Purdon, could assume the chair for a few minutes, and I'll invite the recipients of the awards this evening and their entourages to join us. Brenda, are we going outside? Just out in the hallway for some photos. So I'll leave Councillor Purdon to carry on. We'll just adjourn outside for a couple of minutes. I'll be back. Thank you.
So, I think we should wait till they all leave. Yeah. We'll just wait. It may be difficult to focus on the council meeting with what's happening out in the hall. I wonder if we should just wait. Yeah.
Well, thanks for keeping us right on track. I realize it's a little noisy to do very much, so. It's too, yeah, maybe we should shut the doors. We'll keep moving. Yeah, let's shut the doors for now, just till they clear out. We're just going to close the doors for a few minutes so we can carry on with our next deputation. And I see we have our good friends from the Owen Sound Surgical Center, Dr. Hatcher and Dr. Ackereckley. I said it correctly. Very good. And I'll invite you to the podium. I believe you have a 10-minute presentation for council this evening. Thank you and welcome.
How's that? Very good, thank you. Thank you, Mayor Haswell and members of committee, and thank you for giving us this time this evening to speak with you about our proposition. As mentioned, I'm Dr. David Hatcher. I'm an anesthesiologist here in Owen Sound, and this is my partner, Dr. Dennis Okurekli, who is an ENT facial plastic surgeon. And we're here this evening to ask for your support as we move forward with an application to the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care for an independent health facility license, which would allow us to provide improved patient care for surgical services with full anesthesia care and nursing care for people who require OHIP-related surgery for skin cancer problems. And it's really becoming quite a big problem throughout Canada and certainly here in Owen Sound too. So my partner Dennis is now going to speak with you in a little bit more detail about what our proposal is. Dennis.
Thank you. So I guess this is the, thank you Mayor Haswell and City Council members for having us here, and I'm just going to try and figure out how to get the presentation. Is it on the side? I can't see it. Oh, here it is. Okay, this is much easier. Thank you. Okay. So, yes. So, oh, wonderful. So this is a short presentation. What we're in the process of doing is applying for an independent health facility license. And so what I'm going to present will kind of outline, one, why we're here today, and then also to give you a bit of background information of why something like this is important for our area. How do I advance? Uh-huh. So our objective here today is simply to gain your support in our venture here to obtain this license. The support that we request is in the form of a letter to the ministry. So the purpose of an IHF, as Dr. Hatcher said, is basically to allow us to improve the surgical services that we currently offer in the city. So the Owen Sound Surgical Centre has been in operation since 2004. We have 2 fully operational OR suites and a 3-bed post-anesthesia care unit. Since we opened, we've been performing complex skin cancer surgery for people who do not fit into the hospital system. So basically the overflow from the hospital system. So over the years, we've certainly developed into a center of excellence for skin cancer management. We provide skin cancer counseling. We do preventative care and screening. And then we have also laser and light-based treatments in addition to the complex skin cancer surgeries that we offer. So when we first started, the number of referrals that we were getting was around 200 for skin cancer. Now we're over 2,000 a year for new diagnosis skin cancer referrals, and it's just growing, the number. The reason for that is because we're in a population that's primarily older individuals, and it's an area where people either work or play outside a lot, and a lot of these cancers are sun-related. So since 2004 and over the years, because of the increased volume, in 2011 we recruited Dr. Cote, who's a dermatologist in our center, and most recently we recruited Dr. Frank Benninger, a plastic surgeon from Toronto, to help with a growing number of skin cancer cases. So I personally see about 800 complex skin cancer surgeries per year. I perform that many. So out of those 2,000, about 40% require complex skin cancer surgery, which basically means it's not just a simple excision. It means they're typically on the face, and it means removing large areas of the face and then reconstructing these areas, often, by local flaps, so elevating the skin off the patient's face and rearranging things. The maximum amount that we can do in hospital is 400, and so the 400 that we can't do in hospital, we do downtown. If we didn't do that, in doing that, we've been able to keep our waiting list to about 2 to 4 months from the time of the initial consultation. If we didn't do it, it would make our waiting time would go to anywhere between 8 to 10 months for surgery after the consultation, which is a bit long, and I think that would necessitate people to travel outside of the city for their surgery. When we choose whether to do people in the hospital or in the clinic downtown, the acuity of people is typically pretty much the same. It's just what's available first will typically dictate where they go. We always take into consideration too their anxiety level. If somebody can't manage having a portion of their face removed while awake, we try to get them into the hospital, obviously. So we try to accommodate these things. So what happens is OHIP, the ministry will only pay when surgeries like this, they're not intended to be done outside of hospital. So there's no fee that the ministry will pay to perform these out of hospital. The only fee that the ministry pays is the same fee that I would get, that the surgeon would get in the hospital. So that it's a surgical fee for that procedure. And so because of that, basically, if we want to do it out of hospital, I have to fund the procedure itself. So that means taking care of all the consumable costs that are involved with delivering this care. And typically, it's about a quarter of the fee that you would get for the surgery itself. But the problem is that that's nobody's problem. I mean, that's my concern. But really, what it means though is that in doing that, we can only offer the bare minimum. Like that amount will cover basically the cost of the sutures, the tray, myself, and some freezing. Okay. So, and this is what I'm explaining on this slide is basically for the 400 people having their surgery outside of the hospital, they're just getting local freezing and me, basically. Whereas if for the people having their surgery in hospital, which is basically the same group of people, they get to have monitored anesthesia care, so they can get a bit of sedation to take the edge off the freezing and so that they don't have awareness of what's going on. And they also get proper nursing care, both intraoperatively and postoperatively. So basically the benefits of providing out-of-hospital IHF care is that we're providing equal and safe, comfortable care for all patients. It helps us to reduce the wait times. We're providing care close to home. And we would be able to, with an IHF license, take all of these surgeries outside of the hospital and allow the hospital to do more appropriate cases in the ORs. So basically, the conclusion is that the demand, along with the lack of hospital resources in our corporation, has basically created a second tier of healthcare, where the second tier isn't as good as the first tier. The people having surgery outside of the hospital have to, in a way, suffer the discomfort of the freezing and the awareness of the procedure. So in the interest of treating all of our patients close to home in a timely manner, with equality and the excellence that they're entitled to, we ask for your support in the form of a letter, basically. And that's it.
Thank you. It's very concise. I'm sure there'll be some questions.
Sure.
And Councillor Lemon.
Well, Your Worship, first of all, I was very interested in this, being a cancer survivor. I can appreciate wanting to get treatment as quickly as possible because the anxiety goes up as the time goes longer. And so I would move a motion that we send a letter of support for the application for an independent health facility license for skin cancer surgery from the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care. And I do that with pleasure, and I thank you for the services you provide to our community. I didn't realize that carcinomas relating to the skin were growing that exponentially.
Yeah, it's actually the #1 cancer. But it trumps breast cancer, colon cancer, every cancer basically. Even if when you combine them, it's the largest volume of cancer. The good thing is that most of them are not life-threatening. The difficulty is that they can make life miserable. They can be disfiguring, and they can continue to grow. And some of them can be a threat to life.
I know I lost a great hand.
It is a big problem.
Thank you.
Councillor Twaddle?
Thank you, doctors, for your presentation. I just want to confirm my understanding. This is not something that's unique. These kinds of facilities do exist in other centers, and this is an enhanced service.
We would be pretty unique, especially for a population like this. There really hasn't been many IHF licenses for similar places granted. There was one recently granted in the Niagara region. But it would be pretty unique for this population to have it. I think it works great in this population because we're kind of isolated from the larger centers, and yet we have the oldest population and a large volume of skin cancer.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Wright, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm very supportive of us supporting it. I've been to Dr. Cody myself, but there's a letter here that's been included from Dr. Bob Severs, who is the head. It's unsigned. He has sent the letter to you? Is he signed his letter? I mean, it's a support letter, obviously.
That was sent in electronic communication.
Oh, it was sent electronically.
Signed,
Not
physically.
that I doubted that he wouldn't support it, because...
Sure. When we send the package out, we'll get a formal signed letter. Yeah.
That would be good. Yeah. Okay, thank you. I'm in favor of supporting this.
Okay. Were there any other speakers to this? Councillor Purdon, then Councillor Chamberlain.
Just a quick question. I also am in favor of this. What has the feedback been from the Grey Bruce Regional Health Centre other than the Chief of Staff?
So the CEO is supportive as well, and we're hoping to receive a letter from the CEO. We actually approached this a few years ago. We made an application, and it was, the government was not handing out IHF licenses at that time. They said we don't have the money to fund it. We have a letter of support from the hospital from then, and we anticipate having another one here. So so this time though, last time we just kind of submitted the application. This time we're trying to gather a bit more support and do it properly. So, and I think the timing is right because it seems that the government is more willing to look at these applications now.
Mm-hmm. Councillor Chamberlain.
Well, I'd just like to congratulate you on a very fulsome report and a nice support letter there from Dr. Severs. Also, I'll thank you for getting all those jobs and recruiting those doctors to our community. So thank you very much.
Councillor McManaman.
Thank you, Worship. Just a quick question. There's no additional fee for anyone using this service as opposed to the hospital?
Right. No, there isn't, and that's why we would like to do this. Right. We can't, even though I have to pay for those services. I can't request a tray fee or anything from the patients. It's illegal to do it, even if they're willing to pay. We can't do it. But that's not necessarily the issue. Is that fee? I mean, it's a much larger fee to provide monitored anesthesia care. I think, and that should be the government's responsibility. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other speakers to this? Well, I thank you very much, and if you stay tuned, we're going to I'll call the question and we'll have a vote and an outcome for you before you leave. Thank you very much. To the motion, all those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. Thank you for providing this opportunity for our residents and the residents of this region. I think equal access to health care is very important to people in our area as it is to people across Ontario, so I thank you. Good luck. Thanks. Cheers. We are at public question period on our agenda. Are there any members of the public here this evening who would like to ask a question of council? No one is jumping up, so we will move along to correspondence. We have correspondence received. We don't have any. We have a very lengthy consent agenda, and I'll ask the clerk if we could have the consent agenda items on the screen so people can see what items council is considering. It's quite a range of items. What's council's direct? Yes. Okay, we'll do this first. It's council's direction on this. We have a series of beer gardens, operation of the West Side Boat Launch Agreement. Oh, I have to get used to Director of Community Services.
Your Worship, just on item 12A4 of the consent agenda, we are looking for direction from staff with respect to the agreement with the Scenic City Order of Good Cheer and their request to waive the tent permit fee.
Okay. Councillor Lemon.
Your Worship, do we need a motion for that at this point, to waive the tent fee?
That's a very good question, and I'm getting a head shake that says yes, we do.
I would therefore so move. I think what the Scenic City Order of Good Cheer has demonstrated earlier this evening do for this community should have our support.
Okay, so that's a standalone motion, and to that motion. Councillor McManaman.
Thank you, Worship. Here we go again with setting precedents. There's a number in the consent agenda of applications that have that are raising tents, Summerfolk being probably the biggest one. Are we waiving the fees for those events? Or has there been a request to waive the fees for those events?
Sorry.
Your Worship, I don't think anyone disputes the good neighborhood, as we just spoke about, the Scenic City Order of Good Cheer, but the tent inspection fee, actually I'll ask a question to the Director. That fee is based on what exactly? What is the fee for?
Through you, Your Worship, the fee would be for the processing of the application and the time the inspector would spend going to the site, inspecting the tent, and doing any follow-up if there were any issues with respect to inspecting the tents during and after it had been placed on the site.
Follow-up question, have we waived any, when's the last time we waived a tent inspection fee? Or is that, maybe that's an unfair question, but I don't recall us doing that recently.
I think it's difficult for staff to go on memory. It's difficult for many of us to go on memory sometimes. So,
Your Worship, I suppose the same question could be asked of me since I was probably involved with it. So, unless the motion is to waive I think there's 4 other tent permit fees here. We deal with these. It's the same discussion we have all the time. I won't be supporting the motion.
Okay, Councillor Twaddle.
Thank you, Your Worship. Since this is an event that is raising funds to benefit the city, does this come under the policy we have around use of facilities? And would this be something that would be like facility rental would be waived, but it would be recouped out of the proceeds that come to the city as a result of the fundraising event? Would it fit into that policy?
Through you, Your Worship, policy CS37 is the policy I think Councillor Twaddle's referring to, and this year the event organizers just using the parking area at the Bayshore Community Centre, and that fee is only $231. Should they have been using a room or the floor of the arena, they would have also been eligible because they're making a donation of 100% of their proceeds to the city. So that would be one way to consider the application of that policy, a fairly creative way, but sort of within the spirit.
Thank you, because I appreciate Councillor McManaman's comments, and the only way that I could support this motion is if it were handled under that policy, and so that in fact we would we wouldn't ask for the fee up front, but we would recover the fee out of the proceeds that are donated to the city. If that can be worked within the policy.
I'm going to go back to the mover of the motion. It sounds like
Your
this-
Worship, that was the intent. I'm aware that we have raised
amendment.
for the Scenic City Order of Good Cheer and other organizations, and 100% of the money is going back into it. This is fundamentally money that we'd have to take from the taxpayers. So really, we're getting, for a very small investment, we're getting a huge benefit. Look at the splash pad. Look at the rink at Harrison Park.
Sure.
Two prime examples.
Thank you. So we have a friendly amendment to that motion that it fall within policy C37, I believe that was called, CS 37. Yeah, of course. A few more speakers. Councillor Boddy, then Councillor Purdon. No? Okay. Councillor Purdon.
Yes, I just would like to support this motion because I think it is fundraising for the city and for the purposes of our city, and having just been involved with an event that was using the parking lot with a tent, there's not a lot of inspection that happens there from a city side. It's pretty straightforward. I don't think there's even much of an outlay of city staff time in terms of the actual erection of a tent and things like that. So I think this is just a really great gesture by the Order of Good Cheer, and that this is how we support those groups making money for the city.
Councillor McManaman.
Thank you, Worship. Just to the motion about the policy, and not to disagree with staff, that policy specifically talks about us receiving money. We're not, unless, correct me if I'm wrong, we're not receiving any money from the Scenic City Order. They're building the park. We're not receiving dollars from them. That's my question.
Perhaps, Your Worship, I would be more able to answer that question. Our normal working relationship on these projects with the Order has been that from their fundraising efforts, they do bring actual cash into us, and we pay the bills because the property is city property. So if it follows the normal pattern, and I haven't been completely in the loop, you might say, I believe we will end up with the actual cash coming through the Order to the city.
Thanks for that clarification. So just so I'm clear to the motion then, if we receive $1,000, we'll be taking the first $200 to pay our building permit fee. That's what the motion is. Just so I'm clear.
That falls within the policy.
So we're not waiving the fee at all. That's it. No, I'm just clarifying. The mover talked about waiving the fee, but now we're not waiving the fee. We're just collecting it when the donations come in. And certainly as long as the fee's paid, and we can go and I can go, I guess, maybe not others, to these other groups and tell them why they have to pay a fee when one group doesn't, but it sounds like they are going to be paying the fee. So, thank you.
It's the intent of the motion, as it's been stated. Councillor Lemon.
Your Worship, the reason why I moved the motion was very simply, all the money raised is going to go to the city. If we were to go and try and do this ourselves, we would be putting it on the tax rate for our citizens. So as far as I'm concerned, we're robbing Peter to pay Paul by charging a fee. And we have waived the fees before. We did for the splash pad, and we did for the ice rink, if memory serves me correctly, under the same policy.
Councillor Burton.
I'm a little bit confused with what's happening here. So my understanding was waiving the fee for the building permit. Yes.
Yeah.
For the, yeah, it's the building permit. It's a building permit. You pay $200 for a building permit. And I just need to know, is that what we're waiving? Because if we're going to collect the money and take the $200 off and put it to the city, that's not waiving the fee. Is the motion to waive the fee or not?
My motion was to waive the fee.
So the amendment that Councillor Twaddle suggested, that it comply with policy CS 37, is not a friendly amendment?
I thought policy, just a point of clarification through staff, if I may, Your Worship.
Yeah.
My understanding on that policy was that we waived the fee when 100% of the money was going to a city endorsed project.
No, Mr. Ritchie.
If I could, Your Worship, our normal accounting practice has been any department that would collect a fee, whether it be a building rental fee, whether it be a building permit fee, they would still issue the invoice as they would to any user, but the city would pay that invoice, and we would, rather than charging that debit to an expense, such as grants, we would offset it to the revenue that we're receiving from the group that is putting on the thing and giving us the proceeds. In accounting terms, I have a debit that I have to get rid of, either to an expense that has been grants or against the revenues we bring in from these other organizations. We're trying to keep an accounting record of what fees we're generating from our various revenue sources, and we can't be, from an accounting point of view, trying to report accurately to council how we're doing on these if we don't book them as we use our own facilities.
So this protects the city in terms of, the city's able to collect its fees that it requires to do the work. However, it also protects the groups who are doing the fundraising in such that they do not have to put the money up front out of their own resources, that they're able to do that out of their fundraising component. To me, it seems like a heck of a fair system. Any further discussion to the motion? Are we clear on the motion? Because I'm not. How about the clerk? Are you clear on the motion?
We believe that the motion was for the permit fee to be dealt with in accordance with policy CS 37.
Yes.
Which, as I understand, means that the money will not be charged upfront, but the first $200 of the proceeds will be credited to the permit fee that we would have otherwise charged.
And Councillor Lemon, is that the intent of your motion?
That was the intent of my motion, to follow the policy.
Okay, around and round we go. All right, thank you. To the motion. Everybody clear now? All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried with one in opposition. Thank you. I'm asking council right now if we could bring forward report item, thank you. Thank you, Councillor Twaddle. I'm sorry, the consent agenda item, the balance of the consent agenda. Councillor McManaman.
I'll move that, Your Worship, just with one additional question.
Mm-hmm.
To Director of Community Services, for the Canadian Fastball Championships, we have a policy for, I believe we're asking $2 million in liability. For the Ontario Championships, we're asking for $5 million in liability. And throughout this, I've noticed different events, we seem to have sometimes a moving target. So I guess that's my question. Perhaps as part of our policy review, we should be looking at whatever OMEX, our insurer, thinks the amount should be, and we should have it across the board. So I guess that's more of a statement than a question. Do we know why are those two different fees?
Through your worship, I spoke with the facility coordinator today. There's no rhyme or reason. The Canadians has always been 2, provincial always 5. It seems to me that they should all be 5, and you're right, we are doing a review of all our agreements, and I think we want to standardize that. So I think making the beer garden for the Canadians at $5 million makes it fair for all the users.
So with that,
that's fine with that amendment. Then
noted.
I will move the balance of the consent agenda.
Further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Thank you. We're on to reports, and I will now ask council if you would bring forward item 12B10. And we have our HR director is here in the event that there are any questions, and our director of operations is here also. So item 12B10. Mr. McRoberts, will you be speaking to this?
Oh, no, actually, I'd like to bring 12B3 forward first, as it deals with some members of the public who are here.
Yes, we can do that. 12B3 first.
Not that, staff don't also need to get home, but
12B3. Absolutely. If that's fine with council. Thank you, Councillor Adair. I imagine you'd like to speak to this.
Yes, and I would move the motion, Your Worship, that we, not sure the exact, well, the wording that's there, that, that we accept the donation from the McConnell Family Foundation on behalf of El Sistema Grey Bruce until they get all of their tax things that they have moving forward getting. We certainly have done this in the past with other organizations, and I think we can do that here too.
Councillor McManaman.
Thank you, Worship. Question for Mr. Ritchie. If this group was not, for some reason, not to receive a charitable status, what would happen then? To this
Through you,
money?
Your Worship, certainly speaking with Ms. Graham and her letter, it seems a virtual certainty that they will be receiving their charitable donation status. However, should they not, we would be careful that we didn't accept the funds under any circumstances that left the city in any liable position. So if we were asked to sign an agreement guaranteeing something that I didn't feel we could, we certainly wouldn't advance. But my understanding at this time from speaking to Ms. Graham that it is a virtual certainty that the status may be received any day.
Thank you.
Councillor Twaddle.
Thank you, Your Worship. In the letter from the lawyer Kelly Graham, she says that the funds would be held by the city on behalf of El Sistema until such time as El Sistema obtains its own charitable status. I think that should be reflected in the motion. Not, and I think then, Wayne, that would address the issue that Mr. Ritchie has raised as well. So I would ask if that would be a friendly amendment.
Yeah, that's absolutely okay.
Clerk's clear on that? Yeah, okay. Councillor Lemon.
No, I have my question.
Okay, further discussion? Congratulations, we'll look forward to this. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. And now we will bring forward item 12B10, which is a report from the Director of Operations with regards to custodial services. Mr. McRoberts.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a quick summary of the report. Staff did go out and obtain tenders or proposals for the completion of custodial services at City Hall. These were received, they were reviewed, the low tender being from A1 Custodial Services. Staff then subsequently went through the review process of looking at the cost savings that the city might be able to achieve in obtaining outsourcing custodial services. In that review, and based upon revisions to the current position in terms of hours, the cost savings is relatively nominal at about $390 per year. It's that close. The recommendation as it stands right now for Council's consideration is that we not award this contract.
Councillor Purdon.
I'd move that the recommendation not to award the tender be approved.
Motion is to not proceed with the tender award. Further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. We'll return to the regular order of things, and we're back at item 12A1. We have a report from our facilities booking coordinator with regards to the license agreement for the facility use for the Grey Bruce Kennel Club. I know the dog show on August 6th to the 8th is always a very popular event and brings out lots of local residents to see some dogs doing some pretty incredible things. Yes, yes, I'm still on some kind of a holiday mode, I think. I need to certainly gear back up very quickly. Thank you. I like to throw those tests out to the clerk now and again just to ensure that she's paying close attention and no one goes awry. We are at 12B1. We have a report from our marketing coordinator with regards to the Salmon Run Tour. And welcome. This is a good news story for council.
This is great news for the city, I think. Thank you, Mayor Haswell. The Owen Sound Salmon Tour is a self-guided tour that's designed to appeal to nature lovers, older outgoing couples, new Canadians, and families in particular. And these are all groups that have been identified by the Ministry of Tourism as people that are worth trying to encourage to come to our area. Our salmon run is very unique because it's there are not very many in Ontario, and ours is also, it's authentic, it's unique, and it's, again, got great family appeal. We have been wanting to develop this for a while, getting people discovering the Sydenham River and traveling upstream and downstream, going downtown Owen Sound all the way up to Inglis Falls and back again. And so when an opportunity came up in the wintertime, the Regional Tourism Organization 7, RTO 7, announced new partnership funding that would be available through the Ministry of Tourism. And this was it back in February. We jumped on it really quickly, put together a proposal in which we would be working with the Grey Stobble Conservation Authority and also the Sydenham Sportsmen. So our proposal happily was approved. We just found out a couple of weeks ago. So the city would be putting forth $5,000 and we would be getting matching funding in the tune of $10,000. The project will take place, we're starting on it already, or hoping to, and as of this fall, we will have a salmon tour running with new signage, brochures, a website, and we will also be working on a video that will be completed later on in the winter. And what we're asking for tonight is for Council's blessing to enter into an agreement with the RTO 7 so that we can move ahead with the project.
Thank you. Council's direction on this. Councillor Boddy.
I'm quite happy to move this. Anytime we can add something to our shoulder seasons for tourism and leverage our assets and things that we've got here that are unique, like the salmon run. We've all gone down and stood along the side of the river and enjoyed it in the fall, and it's great to have the opportunity to get some money provided to us by the province to spin that a little bit bigger and take advantage of it, so I'm quite happy to move that.
Right. Further discussion to the motion? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a report from Manager of Economic Development and Tourism with regards to the status of city-owned land and buildings, and a recommendation has also been provided. What is Council's direction on this item? Councillor, pushing and shoving here. Councillor Twaddle or Councillor Boddy? Councillor Boddy.
I think I beat him to the button, so I'll move the motion. It involves asking for request for proposal for uses, I believe, of the former CN rail station, which is the east side of the harbor, giving direction to issue a request for proposal for services of a real estate agent for existing city property. So we're asking real estate agents for proposals to sell our properties for us for the next couple of years, and preparing the old 8th Street Reservoir, 8th Street East between 7th Avenue and 8th Avenue, south side of the street, to be prepared to consider, take steps towards declaring it surplus for sale. So I move those.
Thank you. We have a motion on the floor. Councillor Lemon and Councillor Twaddle.
Reservoir property, it is exceptionally deep, if memory serves me right. And it's a fair-sized piece of property. Is the zoning on it permissive of multiple family?
Through you, Your Worship, the zoning is R4 on that property. So it does permit a variety of residential uses. Not too dense.
Councillor Twaddle.
Thank you. I support the motion. I have a question about another property that we offered for sale a year ago. Would be a building lot, residential building lot, but there are city services under the property, and we were going to look at the cost of relocating the services. There was some interest in purchasing that lot, and I'm assuming that would still be there, and So I'm not sure where that stands in the process, but we're going to look at the cost of relocating the services in order to create a building lot.
We can look at that. We hadn't, the development team, when we looked at the properties, we focused on these properties, but we could certainly.
I do believe there was direction from council to look at the cost on that. I can't recall exactly when, but I did raise it at the time. So
staff will check into that and do some follow-up.
Okay.
Councillor Wright.
Thank you, Your Worship. With respect, if I may, through you, Your Worship, and I'm not sure who can answer this. However, I'll throw the question out. That reservoir property, who was it that planted the trees up there recently? There were a whole pile of trees planted there within the last few years.
You may be thinking of the current reservoir, or we're talking about the
Where are we
former
talking?
one, before you get to 9th Street. So it's, you kind of come up 8th Street and it sort of
Oh, that
plateaus.
little indent in
Yeah,
there.
that's right.
Oh, that's the one we're talking about.
That's right.
Okay, sorry, I just looked at 8th Street and.
No, that's fine.
And then I thought that one on 8th Street was for the water tower. I was gonna talk to my friend Councillor Twaddle about that one, but now I understand which one. Thank you. That answers my questions. I support the motion.
Councillor Purdon.
This is just maybe a crazy idea, but whenever I see like city property like this and am aware of the scarcity of affordable housing in our community and how many people are homeless, I wondered if there's any way that the city would look at, if there's a community group, or consider a joint project that would look at building some affordable housing. Just I think a big need in our community, not that it would be easy to do, but certainly a need.
There is an opportunity through the Planning Act and through planning policies in municipalities to request of developers, residential developers, to provide a certain number of affordable housing units in housing developments, and that might be a way that Owen Sound could look at it. Overall, though, the responsibility for social housing does lie with the County of Grey, so it would be best addressed at Grey County, in fairness. Councillor Purdon?
Yes, I wasn't thinking of social housing, I was thinking of affordable housing, and that would be the private sector and an initiative or a not-for-profit organization. Perhaps it would work on something like that.
I use the wrong terminology. I should say housing, period. Councillor Boddy.
Thank you, Rich. But I just want to clarify an error I just made. I got my N's and my P's mixed up. CP is on the east side by the old beer store. CN is the one we're talking about. It would be by the old BCK property on the west side of the harbor, just to clarify.
I think often we'll get questions about affordable housing, and that'll come forward if and when we get to the point of listing it for sale, and you'll get proposals. I mean, in the past, that's what we've when we've received them. So right now, you have to. It's not on the market. So.
Councillor McManaman.
Just a question, Mr. Furness. So the CP station on the east side, what's the moving forward on that?
The CP, the former CP rail station, was issued. There was a call for proposals for it, and it's still on the city website. So going forward, there continues to be renovations from the grant money we received, and I believe there's still more funding and more renovations happening. Most of it's done. I continue to get calls on it. It is still a building. I would say the shell is mostly there, but not 100% yet. So it's still an expensive property for someone to look at, but a unique property. And if you haven't been inside, it's cleaned up very nicely. But so we continue to market that, and it is for a long-term lease. So it's on the website, it's on the Bidder Owen Sound site, and there's a sign posted on it. If we did have a real estate agent come forward, we might ask them to look at getting it marketed as well.
Councillor Boddy.
While we're on that CP station on the east side, is it not on the Doors Open
I believe it is,
tour?
yes, this year.
Is that not this Saturday?
I-
So if you wanted to go and see that building, you'd be able to go and see it?
That and all the other buildings on Doors Open, yes?
Okay, just wanted to make sure, thanks.
Any further discussion to the motion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. We have dealt with this item. We're on to item 12B4. We have a report from, and a presentation from the manager of our IT department with regards to City of Owen Sound Geographic Information System, otherwise known as GIS.
Well, if not, somebody else will have to come fix it.
Jamie's gonna go. Yeah, Jamie.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm here tonight with our GIS supervisor, Senator McDonald, and we're here tonight with some good news about a GIS for the City of Owen Sound. What is a GIS? Well, approximately 80% of all of our information has a spatial or geographic component. Most information is tied to a place. A GIS integrates computer hardware, software, and that data for the management, display, and analysis of that information. It uses an exact location on the Earth's surface to relate data. GIS takes database information and allows you to view it and get that data through its physical location. Maps can be drawn from the database and easily viewed from the GIS. When a database is updated, the information on the map is automatically updated. A GIS map is made of a base map and various layers of data which can be turned on and off relating to points on the map. It performs queries, so you can take a look at that data and shows the results in either graphically or in a tabular format. This allows us to view, understand, interpret, and analyze data in many ways. That's encouraging. Having access to all this data easily allows us to plan and provide analysis. So, what can a GIS be used for? Since most of the municipal data is related to properties, a GIS can help access and analyze that data. Many municipalities are already using GIS to provide information to the public, such as bus schedules, garbage and recycling pickup schedules, and points of interest throughout the municipality. Specific maps can be easily created and can be made available on websites, such as tourism points of interest or local service information. A GIS can allow the public to create their own customized maps, including air photos, parcels, addresses, streets, fire hydrants, and many more layers of information. It also allows them to draw lines and shapes and create their own customized map, which can be printed or then exported. As far as for the municipality and the municipal staff, it allows us to access our data from across the organization, which will break down our data silos. We have a lot of data. It allows staff to better plan capital projects and track and manage the maintenance of the city's current assets. A GIS easily integrates with an asset management system. So this sounds great. So how are we going to do it? It's a big undertaking. We have needed a clear picture of what the GIS goals were to be, and we've been given that picture. We've broken it down into several phases, and this project will involve data from all parts of the corporation, and we'll need resources from those divisions. So, we broke it into 8 phases. You can read them there. Phase 1, high-level goals, design and build an interactive GIS map prototype, launch that prototype, survey data and provide needs, senior management review and set the implementation of those priorities and needs, build GIS data management prototype, and implementation of those layers according to priority. Here's where we are. So we've made quite a lot of progress in a very short time. I have to catch up to my notes. So tonight, on behalf of our GIS team, of Sandra and a lot of the IT team, Sean, Jamie, and Paul, I would like to introduce we were going to go with ACDC, but there was some licensing rights around it. So, Cosmos is the City of Owen Sound mapping online system. It's an online interactive map for use by the public and by city staff. It's fully interactive and allows all of the customizations I was speaking of. The functionality will include full navigation, adding and removing data layers, drawing lines and shapes, measuring tools, and much more. Can you grab my tablet? Cosmos, which we're branding it as, is available on the city website as of now, and can be found at cosmos.owensound.ca or maps.owensound.ca. Or we're going to be able to use these QR codes. So this is a simple iPad with a QR code scanner. I hope this doesn't fail. Lock it there. You can't see this, but it's loading our GIS as we speak.
That's great. Good, good, good.
Thank you. Great, and without any further delay, I would like to bring Sandra up to give a brief look at Cosmos.
I'm sure Sandra's going to explain how a fax machine works.
He just showed you the tablet. Here's
There
the
we go.
desktop.
That's
Yeah, here's the desktop version.
There we go. Thank you.
No. So this is the homepage to our geographic information system, Cosmos. So we're just going to launch the desktop. It does require an installation of Silverlight. It's a free download, and it will automatically prompt you for that download to download it. So it starts off with all the navigation across the top. You can zoom in, zoom out, and pan around. You can jump to certain scales if there's a certain scale that you'd like to jump to. You can mark bookmarks. It's like adding a favorite. And just by zooming in, you can add a bookmark, name it. And then automatically you can be zoomed back out and going back to the bookmark itself. So this is really good for a site-specific project that you're working on. You're always going back to the same property. Maybe it be your house that you want to see certain images of your house. You want to turn the art photos on. You can always mark yourself as the bookmark. So what we'll do is we'll start with the air photos. Let this take a moment for it to load. So now we have the air photos. They're for all of the city. They're taken from a snapshot of the spring of 2010, and the swoop data, which is the Southwestern Ontario Orthophotography, is updated every 4 years. So some of the other layers that we do have on here are your bus routes. Let's turn off the air photos. The bus routes. As well as you can actually go to the bus routes and link to the schedules on the City of Owen Sound website. We have the downtown parking layer, trails and pathways, when your waste management, so when your pickup is, east side, west side, and also where you can purchase bag tag locations. Again, this is all linked to the website itself. Different points of interest. We have City Hall there marked with a star. And there's all others that you can turn on: parks, skate park, recreation, boating, and any other points of interest within the city. Ball diamonds and zoning. Here within the zoning, as you zoom in, it will actually tell you what it's zoned as well as the provisions linked with it. So here we'll just right click, go to the zoning provisions, and there's a PDF to all the zoning provisions. So if you had a provision on your property, you could see what the provision is. Also with this, you're able to, as you zoom in and you get to a scale of 1 to 5,000, the parcels and the civic number will show up. When you are at a larger scale, that information will not be shown because then it just clutters up the map. You can print and export. So if you have a map here, you just print and it automatically prints to a PDF once you create the file. You can also add notes in this, and you can open the file. And you can change the title and add the notes within this box here. You can draw and measure on, you can add any of the drawing tools here, add shapes to it. You can measure distance, it automatically turns on, and you can add it as a drawing to the map if you'd like to keep it instead of just having one measurement. You can identify different features. You can add different layers. There is the coordinate tool, so if you know coordinates of a certain place, you can add the coordinates to the map. I just happen to know these coordinates, so I'm just going to enter them in. And automatically it adds the coordinates to the map and zooms to that area. Here the coordinates were added to City of Owen Sound. Also another feature that Cosmos has is Google Map integration. So when you click onto the Google Map, it is synchronized with the City of Owen Sound's Cosmo website, and it'll give you a street view to the area that you're at. We are currently working on a help document to be able to actually have a tool for you to go through this. So that is currently in production. I'm working on that. And we'll be adding data as time goes through. Thank you.
Thank you. So the level with which the average person can peel down the layers on the GIS would be equal to that of a Google map?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. Yep. Councillor Dare.
This is quite amazing. Some of us who are on finance had an opportunity to see this earlier. I'm just wondering, I've seen your presentation twice. Are you going to do like a 2 or 3 minute YouTube video and explaining to people how they use this? Because that would be very helpful in making this really much more interactive for the public. I mean, most people can navigate through this, but I often find those little tutorials on a YouTuber that come with something quite helpful.
That's a good point.
Through your worship.
Yeah.
We are going to be working at actually doing a presentation similar to this on a YouTube type video so that there'll be with the screen and showing how it will be done. And that will be in time.
There will be a lot of documentation and help, for sure.
That's great. It's a terrific initiative, a huge amount of work. And Councillor Lemon.
My congratulations, this is fantastic, and I also like the fact that you can use your iPad to zip in like that. One question I've got, are we going to put things like sewers and water lines on this as well?
Definitely.
Good.
Down the road.
Excellent, thank you.
That's phases 5 through 8. That's a much bigger undertaking, but that's definitely in the plans.
I'm just thinking if somebody's buying a property, they could find out if the sewer was in front of their house or somewhere else.
Councillor Boddy.
Thank you, Worship. There'll be a lot of extremely happy real estate lawyers in Owen Sound tonight. We tend to use things like this whenever we can, and it's been missing. Helps us find lots, and we're trying to figure out what house is being sold or what the neighbor is or property lines as those things come forward. This will be a great help.
Councillor Purdon.
As I'd like to move the recommendation that we receive the report also congratulating you on your work to date and all of the team that's put this together. Would it be possible with the bus routes to also put the bus stops on the map, so where the bus actually stops?
Anything is possible to be put on that, on the.
It just would be nice for people who don't know the transit system to know where the stops are. I guess it all depends what we end up with as a transit system, but that level of detail is really
If we have
nice
the
to
data, we can map it.
Yeah, thank you.
Could be those little triangles or circles or something. Yeah. City Manager.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd personally like to thank staff. As you know, this was a priority that I put on my agenda because I think it's something that was missing from the city of Owen Sound. So to Jamie and Sandra and all of the staff that were involved, thank you so much. I think we now have a really helpful tool, not only for the real estate agents in the city, but all of our residents.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this presentation. And we do have a motion on the floor. All those in favor? Opposed? Cosmos has been launched. a great title for a great new service for our community as well. Thank you. Item 12B5, we have a report from the purchasing agent with regards to T13-05, 2013 valve maintenance trailer. Councillor Wright.
Thank you very much. And I read I just need to ask, what is a valve maintenance trailer, please? But I'll move the motion because obviously we need it. But
it's the spirit.
If you could just tell me what it is.
Through you, Your Worship, yes. A valve maintenance trailer is basically exactly that, what it is. It basically is used to maintain valves. It has a piece of equipment on it that will allow you to rotate a valve very carefully. Manpower basically rotating a valve could break it. This machine actually just provides the right level of force to very gradually turn on, especially on our older valves. The equipment also has the ability to basically open up around a valve opening if we need to repair it. Instead of with our large Vactor truck, we have to take out a large portion of asphalt and open up a large excavation to basically get at a small valve. This way we can actually open up a very small excavation, save money on our asphalt and our gravel costs, and still be able to maintain our valves. So it's a very multi-purpose, multifunctional piece of equipment.
That's great. Sounds good.
That's good. Further discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Valves looked after. Passed. Thank you. We have a recommendation from our purchasing department with regards to a request for proposals. Mr. Ritchie.
If you're moving on to the vehicle rental proposal?
Yes.
I would ask that perhaps we defer this for 2 weeks. There was a question posed to me today that, quite honestly, I did not have the answer for. The purchasing agent is on holidays at the present time. We'll be back tomorrow, and I would love to proceed on this when I have that answer, if you wouldn't mind.
Thank you for that information. Council's direction. Councillor Twaddle.
I would move that this be deferred till the next council meeting.
Okay. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. We'll see that back in 2 weeks' time. Thank you. We have a presentation actually, from our Director of Community Services with regards to Doors Open Owen Sound, which happens this weekend, which I have to say I'm particularly excited about this year. There's some really neat doors that are going to be open. So you can, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship, members of council. Just a quick reminder, really, that this year, Doors Open Owen Sound is celebrating the relationship between heritage and the arts. So please join us for Doors Open this weekend, June 1st and 2nd, from 10 till 4 those days. This is our 11th Doors Open celebration. So doors will be open to 16 sites of cultural, historic, environmental, and architectural significance, both Saturday and Sunday this coming weekend. So there's lots of neat things going on. There's a wind band at Central Westside Church. There's art in the garden at Highland Manor. And at the CPR station, if you're interested in getting a look at that station, it will be open both days, and Jean Francis will be doing an art exhibition in the station. There's lots to see and do this weekend for doors open. What's happened so far, we've selected our sites. We have 16 great sites this year, as the mayor said. We have had great sponsorship support, and those sponsors are shown there. We couldn't do it without them. The event promotion, you'll have maybe seen a provincial guide for Doors Open, a different format this year than the magazine. At each of the sites, you would be able to get one of these for the site. So lots of information about the history of the site, not to be outdone by IT. We also have QR codes. And then watch in the Sun Times on May 28th. So tomorrow, there'll be the insert, the pullout, with the site map and the sites and all the information about what's happening this weekend. We still need some volunteers. We have 5 spaces where we need volunteers, both at the CPR station on Saturday and Sunday, Greenwood Cemetery, and then Moorland Place. So great opportunity to see the sites and meet a lot of visitors. You don't need to be a heritage expert, you just need to be enthusiastic and willing to donate a few hours of your time. If anyone's interested in volunteering, please call Pat in Community Services. So we're looking forward to Doors Open this weekend. It should be a great celebration of our heritage.
Thank you very much, and I know that there'll be a great turnout. I think the weather should turn around by the weekend, and the rain might be through the community by then, so no reason to not go out and check out a little bit of a home vacation and investigate and explore what's happening here in Owen Sound. We have another presentation from our event facilitator with regards to the tall ships. And I welcome Mr. Cleverly to hear all about the tall ships update.
Thank you, Your Worship. And members of council, it's great to be back here with you and to be talking about this exciting summer event. Of course, summer is always a busy time with special events in the city, both events that are put on by the city and by many community organizations. Of course, you will have seen the gentleman beside me on several previous occasions representing Owen Sound Museums, but Mr. Paul Eichhorn is here with me today as the lead member of the Tall Ships team. And we currently have Mr. Eichhorn as our Tall Ships project coordinator, and with the support of Employment Ontario, we also have 2 full-time positions. Dan Blankensop, who is our event associate, and Lisa Cruikshank, who is our marketing associate. And together we have a really fantastic team, and the results that we're starting to see come out of this team are phenomenal. We're going to see a few examples of that tonight. In putting this presentation together, I suggested to Paul that we kind of focus on a little bit of a theme and pick up on the points from the report that you all have in front of you. So we've done that, and I thought we'd theme it around primarily around the idea of partnership, because with a community partnership and a corporate partnership, we have ways of reaching more people, getting more people involved, and maximizing the city's investment in the event, and really being very cost effective with the event as well. And I think we're going to see that at the end of the day, that it is a very cost effective event. Starting with the first slide here, this is our new look, our new logo mark for the event, and it has come about through. It's a beautiful image of the grain elevators, of course, on the harbor, and the tall ship in the foreground. And this and the next image, these have come about through one of our first partnerships, which is with the Bruce County Museum. The Bruce County Museum has a very significant exhibit right now about the General Hunter. And the General Hunter was, of course, a warship in the War of 1812. and they have a reproduction of a part of that ship right inside the museum, along with all kinds of interactive elements. And the designer of the exhibits and the marketing materials for the museum is actually now working for us in trade. So we're getting fantastic marketing images at zero cost to the city. We're trading advertising for these images, and we're very, very excited to be working with Bruce County Museum and to have the quality of the images. This is on the screen is the poster that has been designed and is getting put up all over the region, all over Bruce and Grey counties and beyond. We also have a very effective rat card that's been produced. I think most members of council have probably seen this. And I've never seen a marketing piece have such an impact, such an immediate impact. As soon as this was hitting the streets, we started getting phone calls, and it hasn't stopped. Lisa in our office is able to process direct calls, direct purchases. We do recommend that people buy their tickets online or over the phone to our ticketing partner, Ticket Pro, but we are also able now to process tickets on site here at City Hall. So we're very excited about, again, another example of a very successful partnership. And with that in mind, going forward, I'm going to turn the microphone over to Mr. Eichhorn, and he's going to kind of give us a quick summary of where we're at with the event. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cleverly. It's great to be here to fill you in about tall ships, and this is going back in time, unlike the earlier presentation, which was going ahead in time in the future. So this is going to be a slice of the past, of course, of tall ships. And these are the ships. Many of you already know of these three: the Fair Jean, Playfair, Pride of Baltimore II. And the Pride of Baltimore II is the first time a ship of this scale of size has been on Georgian Bay since the 1812 era. So that's kind of something really interesting, especially the connection to 1812, which a lot of these celebrations are getting linked to. You will notice we just confirmed with the Investment Planning Council Office of Owen Sound that they will be a sponsor of the Pride of Baltimore II. And that's great to have them as a partner. They're a significant player in this area, and we're glad to have them aboard, pardon the expression. The other ship, of course, that you would have found out about a month ago, Leanna's Ransom, which will be coming. We'll be doing excursions 5 times a day. Great response so far in the first month. We're very excited about the reaction to this. People are calling in. A lot of people are booking for the Parade of Sail, the final day, because they get to be out there with all the other ships on board of the Leanna's Ransom. So this has really been great. And of course, Parrish and Heimbecker, again, a local organization here based on the harbor, is sponsor of that ship, and they again are a great partner for us in this event. So the events that we have coming up, of course, we've got a full schedule. One will be the Thursday night, a Captain's VIP welcome dinner at the Inn on the Bay. Best Western is a partner with us on this event. There will be a selected number of tickets available, 50 tickets for $60. There'll be a dinner, a chance to meet the captains, a chance to really get things kicked off. There'll be some music. We certainly invite all council members to come out to that event, and it'll be great to have you there for that night. The next day, of course, the big opening day, we'll have ceremonies 11 a.m. I know Her Worship will be there, and we'll have some other dignitaries, and we'll kick things off. The tours will begin. Hopefully it'll be beautiful weather. At that venue, down by Harborside, we'll have a harbor market, which will feature artisans, food, beverages, a lot of different opportunities, both from people within the city, locally and regionally. So it's a chance for people visiting this area to discover a lot of the flavors and different artists that live in this area. So that's going to be a lot of fun. The Harbor Stage, live music program by Summerfolk. This is another great partnership that we've done with Summerfolk, who of course are also going to be down just up the way on Castle Beach that weekend. They've put together a great lineup of music. It's going to just really make it an exciting time at the harbor with the ships, with the music, and we're really looking forward to that. The 1812 tie-in again, the Wharf Tour. This is an event that's going across Ontario at all the other ports that are participating. This is through the 1812 Secretariat, Heritage Canada. There'll be historical reenactments 3 times a day along the harbor near the ships. So that's going to be exciting. They'll be in costume. People get a slice of that history, and just with that connection with the water and the ships, that should be unbelievable. Children's activities, something for everybody, all ages. We're bringing a lot of community partners to work with us on this so that if you come down there, there's something for everybody. The kids can have some fun, face painting, tattoos, different types of crafts. So that'll be great as well, and it'll be outdoors, and it should be a fun time. We'll have a Model A vintage car display on Saturday. A bunch of Model A car owners are traveling into Owen Sound. They're going to be coming, parking down by the venue. So you'll have another slice of history right there. And so people who are interested in vintage vehicles, I think will find that really exciting. Finally, on the Sunday, the parade is sail. And then all the ships will go out of the harbor, out into the open water. And we've got a lot of other boaters in the area who are going to be participating. So that's going to be really exciting. So we're going to have that kind of that just picture all those ships going out. And that's going to be, I think, a great opportunity, especially if you'd like to take photography. And you can go wherever you want along the harbor shoreline. They'll be going past Castle Beach. People at Summerfolk will get to see that as well. So that's going to be great. Marketing, we've been wearing a lot of different marketing. As Doug talked about the RAT card, which is already doing quite well. We're going to be doing another run of that, and that'll be increased distribution around the region and in the province. Social media, Facebook and Twitter. Within the first month of implementing our Facebook and Twitter feeds online, we've contacted thousands of people that way. A lot of great interactions, people coming who said they lived in Owen Sound, they can't wait to see them, they're going to come back and visit. So we're seeing a lot of good interactions that way, and a great way to spread the word about tall ships coming to Owen Sound. RTO 7, this is a joint Southern Ontario marketing initiative with other Georgian Bay ports. Thanks to the support of RTO 7, we're looking at $100,000 worth of marketing for all the ports, and that's going to be Southern Ontario, CTV ads, Metroland, Chorus, Bayshore. So there's going to be this great initiative of marketing with this combined force thanks to RTO 7. So that's something that's going to really put tall ships out there over the next 2 months. You're going to hear a lot about it. Event program will be doing a pre-distribution as well as at the event. This program will provide information not only about tall ships, but also about Owen Sound. We want to get people the idea that they come here, they visit, they see the attractions, go to the gallery, go to the museums, go downtown and shop. And we're trying to create that kind of interest. So that event program will be a huge piece, both for the tall ships, but also for the greater Owen Sound area. Outreach, we've made a lot of presentations, been out to different clubs. I was out to see the Golden K's last week. They're a great group. They sent me a nice letter today and said they appreciated me coming out. They also gave me a poem and a photograph. Always appreciate that too. And anyways, it's been great to go out and talk to people of all different ages and different groups. And we're getting a really good response. People are excited and they're spreading the word. And that's what you need. You need people to spread the word in the community. Media, local radio, TV, print. We're also going to be doing some larger media reach out to Kitchener-Waterloo, London, and Barrie. Those areas are targets as well for us, particularly down the southwest. And I think that we can bring a lot of people up here to visit. A lot of people had families and relatives in this area. They might come back to visit the relatives and check out the tall ships as well. Getting involved. Lots of ways to get involved. Volunteer opportunities. We've got dozens of volunteers already. We need more. So people should get in touch with us. We're happy to hear from you. Some people are going to be doing tours, helping with the tours on the ships. Some people will be helping harborside, taking tickets, lots of different roles. So great way to get out and enjoy a fun day. Navy League cadets will be actually giving us a lot of volunteers. This is a great initiative for them, obviously, because of the connection to Marine, and we're great to have them aboard for this project. Community partnerships, we're going to be working with different community partners, such as the Bruce County, which will be doing some interpretive displays. I'm meeting with Grey Roots tomorrow. Tom Thomson Art Gallery, of course, Owen Sound Museums are on board. And so all these groups, and we're looking at other ones as well. I know the Power Squadron had a little presentation today. They're going to be involved in some capacity. We had a meeting on April 30th. They had a great turnout. People were really excited in the local community to get involved with us on this. Vendors, we've got some opportunities still for a harbor market. Could be artisans, could be people doing something that's an interesting kind of display. So we have some opportunities still, and please get in touch with us on that. Sponsors, again, some opportunities. Again, you've seen two of the ship sponsors. We're looking for sponsors big and small, and everybody getting on board on this project. And it's a great opportunity to promote your organization, to say the least. Staying in touch, finally. tallshipsowensound.com, obviously. Ticket information about events. We keep expanding on that as we move along. Facebook, of course, Tall Ships Owen Sound. Twitter, @tallshipsOS. Tickets, ticketpro.ca. And again, must emphasize people get their tickets ahead of time. Tickets are selling briskly. We can't guarantee before the event they'll be available. So if you think you can go the second week in August and get your tickets, we can't guarantee that. So we encourage people to buy tickets right now. You can call us, of course, here at City Hall, and Lisa will be glad to help you out, and email, of course, as well. So that's it for our presentation. If there's any questions, we'd certainly be glad to answer any. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and that is going to be an incredibly exciting weekend in Owen Sound. There is no doubt we will be just buzzing around the city. I thank you so much for all the work that you're doing on this, and I wonder if any member of council has any questions or comments. Now, if there's any plank that could be walked on any of these, we could give some consideration over the next few weeks as to which member of council might like to demonstrate how that happened. Oh, Councillor Lemon's volunteering.
Actually, Your Worship, I was going to, it's usually the captain who gets to walk the plank first. And as mayor, I think that you should go forward and show your progressive leadership by going out on the plank and doing a
pirouette or something?
Yeah.
Yes.
However, we will not require you to carry an anchor down with you.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. And we will we'll certainly be there in full force. I'm sure all members of council have already got this marked on their calendar. And I can say that to partner this the same weekend as Summerfolk, I think is a great idea. I think it just adds to the opportunities for people that live here. A lot of people who have lost their jobs over the last few years, who are unemployed, who are not able financially to go on a vacation and leave the area, no need to. You can stay right here, you can invite your friends and your family up to Owen Sound, and you can have a great weekend, particularly the weekend of the Tall Ships Festival. And again, I know how many tickets have sold, and it will be sold out. There is no doubt in my mind, and I know Owen Sounders are notorious for waiting to the last minute to buy tickets. So to avoid that disappointment, I really have to say I encourage people to get those tickets soon.
Through Your Worship, 35%, over 35%
tremendous.
Of our capacity is already sold.
Santa was busy, I understand, too, at Christmas time with a lot of those tickets. So I really encourage people to get out there. There you go. Thank you so much for your presentation, and we'll look forward to another exciting weekend in Owen Sound in August. Thank you. Thank you. Motion to receive. Councillor Boddy?
I move that we receive that presentation.
Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. Report from community planner with regards to site plan approval at 2125 20th Avenue East, EC King Contracting. It's council's direction on this site plan. Councillor Adair.
Thank you, Your Worship. I move the approval. This is a great expansion of a local business. We're looking at almost 6,000 square feet of additional space, so that's great.
Yep. Good news, new investment in the city. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Thank you. We have a series of boards and committees, minutes for approval, starting with the 12C1, Planning and Heritage Advisory. Mr. McRoberts.
Yes, through your worship, I'd just like to make a correction to the Operations Advisory Committee minutes.
I was looking forward to your comments on planning and heritage.
Yeah, thanks. Page 6, top of the top paragraph, just the last portion of that sentence, which begins, which is a $77,000 loss the city should be deleted. That number was discussed at the meeting, but it's not part of that paragraph. Yes. The clerk has it highlighted up on the screen.
So that statement is to read, in 2014, the city will no longer be permitted to charge a support person to a fare to ride the specialized transit bus, period.
Correct.
Okay. Councillor Adair?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to move all the minutes, but I'm wondering if someone from Economic Development would like to talk about the economic overview of Owen Sound. There's some pretty amazing stuff in there, and I don't think we should just let it
No, we shouldn't.
go without some kind of
say.
Sure. Councillor Body?
Do you want me to, or do you want to?
Councillor Body?
Thank you. I would love to chat about this. Thank you, Councillor Adair, for the opportunity. I just want to point out some highlights from our last economic development meeting, which was, we've had some dandies, but we don't necessarily toot our own horn enough. We have some new data that Mr. Furness has been able to pull up and rely on that is in the report on what's really happening in our employment sector here in Owen Sound, contrary to what the public image may be and what our own image at times may be. Just some highlights. The 3 top employment sectors are healthcare, manufacturing, and retail, and I don't think anyone's surprised by that. Here's the surprising part. Since 2006, the number of jobs located in Owen Sound has grown to 17,282 from 16,000, which is a 9.5% increase. We have one of the largest growth rates in our region, which confirms that we're a regional center. And down on the next line, specifically, since 2006, employment in manufacturing has had a 15% growth compared to the rest of the region, which is pretty phenomenal. You know, we lost PPG and we're concerned about loss of jobs. Those big companies, when they close, tend to get a lot of attention, but when there's 3 hired back here, 5 there, 20 there, it flies under the radar. But meanwhile, we've regained and actually grown some of the employment that we had lost prior to 2006, and we're in a lot better shape than what a lot of people think. For tourism, of course, accommodation and food sector, the sector has grown also by 10%. And in fact, we have more jobs in Owen Sound than they do in Blue Mountains, which is quite interesting that you think of Blue Mountains as being the tourism capital of this area. We have identified at Economic Development a goal for the next year or so to try and increase the city's assessment base and population, and moving forward specifically in that direction, as well as doing all the other things that we continue to do. And the other thing that I can advise council about is we're continuing to seek out the University of Western Ontario for the satellite campus of fine arts in Owen Sound. It's been in discussions. The city and the Art Gallery has been in discussions with the University of Western Ontario, or what I guess they're now calling Western University, for the last year or so. That is continuing to move ahead. We do have students coming to the Art Gallery, I believe, this fall. And as we move forward, we need a location to start to expand that, and that's what we're looking at now. We will need residence areas for some of those students, but this is, we're not over the hump to say that yes, it's definitely coming, but we're well on our way and we're working awfully hard at economic development, and as you know, the rest of the city is working very hard to make this happen. So I just wanted to highlight those things and bring them to everyone's attention, because it's good news story that we never toot enough our own horn. I also want to point out that the city's community video, which has been put together for 2013 by staff, will be shown on Rogers TV and CBC TV in Toronto over a month, in a condo show that's down there promoting our area and our city as a destination to come and live, and that's a huge opportunity for us to get into that Toronto market, wave our flags, say we're here. We've got a couple of projects that are going on in the city that, you know, we've been waiting to come online, and now they're online, and that it's just, we seem to be taking great steps forward right now, and it's good to see, and this show will help us promote the city. Thanks.
Thank you very much for that overview, Councillor Body, and I want to congratulate all the people involved in the Economic Development Committee currently. It's a much more focused committee. There seems to be some real energy in that committee, and a scaled down, more focused approach to how we're approaching economic development and really targeting who we're going after. And it's working. And that's the exciting part of the news. So congratulations. Councillor Lemon.
Well, Councillor Body made a very, very good point. Everybody knows when an industry leaves or jobs leave, but very rarely are they aware when jobs are created, like the number of people who are going to work potentially in that clinic that we agreed to give support to tonight. Those are basically new jobs being created over the last few years and the next few years. And this points out our regional function and also means more employment within the community, plus people coming to Owen Sound from all over, from the whole region, because I believe they draw from all of Grey Bruce to this clinic.
Councillor Wright.
I wish to speak to another 7 minutes.
Okay. I'm going to just ask if Mr. Furness would like to add anything, if there's a particular comment in those statistics that you'd like to draw to our attention.
No, I just wanted to, the only thing I'd say is that we've never had access to data like this before, and it's the provincial government through AMAFRA actually worked hard to put this data together. Normally we would look at census data and it would come every 4 years. I mean, since the last census, we've had an economic downturn, and this is not just census data, but payroll data and a lot of other data sources. So we'll actually be able to look at a lot of different data, wages by any community. I can combine communities, so we'll actually be able to see a lot more and dig a lot deeper. So this is just sort of the surface, but it is something we've never had access to. So it's great. It really gives us a better snapshot and understanding of where we are.
And maybe you could explain how that is useful, that information, how that is useful in the attraction of new investment and new business.
Well, I mean, when you want to look at sectors, you want to look at your strengths and look at where your trends are. I mean, there's some real interesting trends going on in terms of healthcare and retail and in manufacturing. I mean, I'm talking to manufacturers all the time. I would not have guessed that our employment in manufacturing has gone up, that our all our employers are doing well. The whole information around wages. Our wages are 90% of what the provincial average is. And we know our housing costs are quite a bit lower than that. That's a good business case to put forward to someone to come up and invite them to live. So this is the way we'll use the information to sell what we already know is a great community.
Thank you. Well, we'll continue, each one of us, to push that message out. Councillor Wright, you had...
I wish to go to the Operations Advisory Committee minutes, and it's right at the very beginning, and it has to do with the property up on 8th Avenue East. I just have a question, if I could, Your Worship.
Sorry, Your Worship, point of order. If that's my pecuniary interest, so I'll excuse myself from the discussion.
Sure, thank you. That's noted.
If I could, through you, Your Worship, to Mr. McRoberts. Can you, what do you think the cost will be for a consulting engineer to take a look at that, or I have a reason for asking that. Have you any idea what the cost would be?
Through your worship, I think at the time when we discussed it, we weren't absolutely clear what the cost would be, but I believe the manager of engineering service indicated that he believed it would be $10,000 to $20,000 range, hopefully probably closer to the $10,000 range.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. Am I on? Oh, how much it was? I know when I was talking to our city engineer, I asked him, as an engineer, if he could come up with a solution to that, and he actually said he did come up with something, but it was too expensive. And so I just, I wondered if we could say to our city engineer, okay, you came up with plan 1 and it's too expensive. Is there any way that you can come up with another idea on that, rather than having to go out? But if it, I don't know, I just thought, since the city did the work in the first place, that maybe we can find a remedy to fix it.
Mr. McRoberts.
Yes, certainly I think the issue is much more complex, and as was discussed at our operations advisory, there's kind of several compounding factors going on. One of them, of course, is the groundwater exfiltration into a swell. There's issues with respect to the soil quality there. I think, quite honestly, I think staff who don't have the expertise have been trying to find a solution for this problem over the course of the last, I'll say 10, 15 years, and with no success. And I think it's probably time that we actually got some professional advice as to what the final solution should be.
Any further discussion on any of the minutes in 12C, 1 through 7? We do have a motion from Councillor Adair to approve. Councillor Chamberlain.
I'd just like to comment on the finance report. I think that is a very good understanding of the challenges facing our community, and I think commenting on that is worthwhile tonight as well. It was a very good report. And I'm trying to see which one it is. It's 12C something.
12C4.
12C4.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Further comment? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Item 12D, we have minutes of in-camera meetings for receipt from the Municipal Nonprofit Housing Corporation. Moved by Councillor Lemon. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Minutes of the in-camera meetings of City Council, May 6th, and Recreation and Parks Committee, May 9th, for approval. Councillor Wright?
Yeah, sure.
All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. We have motions for which notice has been previously given, and this is a motion by Councillor Wright requesting that the Planning Department bring forward a report or comment only on applications that have a direct impact on the City of Owen Sound. I'll go to Councillor Wright.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. I don't intend to speak long to this. I think that everyone understands where I'm coming from. I would like to reserve the right to speak prior to the vote. I know that others want to speak about it.
Okay. Councillor Lemon.
Oh, Your Worship, I think this is an excellent idea, long overdue. I think it's important that we comment where there's a direct impact on the city. But sometimes this gets really carried away of us commenting on things that have absolutely zero impact now or in the future on the City of Owen Sound. And I think we should be building bridges with our neighbors. We shouldn't be causing them angst by investigating what they do on things that don't bear on us. Would we like it if the council of whatever George and Bluff say were to comment on the fact that we decrease the setback on a house or we change the zoning in an area? They don't do that. And I think we're commenting on things that are none of our business and not of our taxpayers' concern. Where there is an issue, where there's going to be a negative impact on the City of Owen Sound, whether it's by wastewater or stormwater, things like that, yes, we should input. But only when there's a direct input. And something that happens in Kilsyth, how much effect does that really have on Owen Sound? I don't think anything.
Councillor Adair.
Thank you, Your Worship. I've been giving this a lot of thought over the last couple weeks. This is something that we have, as a council, been doing for years. I remember, I believe it was former Councillor Kelly who sort of coalesced this because we were getting reports on a fairly regular basis from staff about issues in the townships. There were more townships then than there are now because of amalgamations, and it was decided that we should have kind of a template or a boilerplate response to these. It was also from an era when, how to put this delicately, the county wasn't always acting in the best interest of good planning. That, however, has changed. The county has good planners. They have a good plan. I think that as a member of the county, it's really up to our county councillors, and it's up to all county councillors to make sure that there's good planning staff at the county, and there is, and that the county follows good planning. It's in everyone's best interest to do that. So I think some of the reasons that we've been commenting are are gone. One of the issues, and I believe it was Councillor Twaddle at our last meeting, said, 95% of these we really don't have any comment on, although we comment on them anyway. I would certainly like to see us give some direction to staff to comment on that 5% that's left. And we all know what that is. There's urban residential development on rural services for one, and pretty much anything that's happening along the Sunset Strip and Springmount are of direct interest with the city. A lot severance near, Oxenden is probably not really something that we should be interested in. So I am speaking in favor of the motion, but there is some history behind how we got to the point where we're commenting on absolutely everything. I also have to wonder how much staff time is being used to review something that the county's already reviewing to say that we really don't have any comment on it. I'm pretty sure that our staff have better things to do than to second guess the county 5 or 6 times a week as we do now. So I think it behooves us at this time to discontinue this practice that really has little relevance in sort of the new order that has happened at the county with good planning, and make sure that we do, though, continue to be vigilant about urban residential development on rural services that happens in our area, and on the Sunset Strip, as I said, because the Potawatomi River runs downstream into the city of Owen Sound. So what happens along that river is of particular importance. But the rest, I think, not commenting at all is probably the best. There is an expression about keeping your powder dry, Your Worship, and perhaps we should save our comments to our neighbors to those points where it's really important that they listen to us. If we are constantly talking to them about things, sometimes you tune that out.
Councillor McManaman?
Thank you, Worship. Well, boy, I certainly have a lot to say about this, so I ask Council to bear with me. We had 6 planning notices before us tonight on tonight's agenda with no comment at all. As Councillor Twaddle has said previously, about 98% of the notices that come before us, we make no comment at all. So as far as second-guessing our neighbors, second-guessing the county has just been stated, 98% of the time, or some number so like that, we make no comment, none. As far as our neighbors commenting on our developments, I think everyone here would welcome constructive comments from our neighbors. Certainly I would. So some suggestion that we don't want their comments. Why do we comment at all? I'm glad we're having this discussion because the province, because we're their neighbors, we're entitled to, they're mandated to copy us with applications. So it's not the city's going out of our way, we're actually following the provincial policy where we comment. Councillor Dare, your suggestion that we comment on some and not on the other, I sure wouldn't want to be the city staff member that decides when we do and when we don't. Right now, all the motions come before council, and it's up to council to decide which ones we choose to comment on or don't. I don't know who's going to draw up the regulations for when we comment and when we don't, but certainly that would need to happen. This council will need to give some guidelines when staff are supposed to bring things forward and when they're not. As far as Councillor Wright's motion, I completely agree with it. We should be commenting only on things that affect the city. Couldn't agree more. And I would suggest that we never have. That's what we always have done. That's what we continue to do. One of the biggest misconceptions out there, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to discuss it tonight, is that development in Kilsyth. Let's be crystal clear. The city made no objection to any development in Kilsyth at our last meeting. None whatsoever. We did not, this is more for the viewers at home, we did not object to any development in Kilsyth. Not at all. Didn't happen. Despite what some local media types, radio shows, or editorials have said, we did not object to a development in Kilsyth. What we did say was a former house, a small house built who knows when, many, many, many years ago, asked the county to make sure before a restaurant goes in that the septic system is up to it. Well, please point out what is wrong with making that comment. That's the comment we made. Is someone opposed to a comment where we simply stated make sure that the septic system is up to the level of a restaurant when it used to be a house? That's the entire, that's our whole comment. Mayor Barfoot, to his credit, when asked to comment about our comments, said they're entitled to do it, and he had no further comment on the radio. I heard him on the radio last week. So to his credit, Mayor Barfoot didn't. He said if they want to comment it, that's they're entitled to. That's it. Would I like that we didn't have to comment at all? Sure, I would. Do you want? Let's list the number of times that we have had to comment. The reasons we've had to comment. Springmount had to go to the verge of an Ontario Municipal Board hearing because they weren't following, the county and the township weren't following the provincial policy statement. At the end, they withdrew their application. A second time in the county official plan, they talked about expanding Springmount. Again, we objected. So I don't know, under this new motion that's being considered, would we even be aware of that before it passed? I don't know. Let's talk about the big one, Georgian Shores subdivision out by Cobble Beach. 81, 82 lots, something like that, subdivision. That was going ahead until the city objected. 82 over 80, let's say that, over on a septic system. So the comment here that we don't need to be looking at these, considering these, keeping in mind that 98% of the time we just pass them with no comment, the idea that we don't need to still be looking at these, well, I've just named 4 times in the last few years that we've had to comment. And if we hadn't commented, they would have went through with no problems. And what do we care if there's an 80-lot subdivision built just outside the city with no servicing? Why do we even care about that? Because the city has a huge investment in our services, in our water and our infrastructure. Huge investment on that. And to allow development like that, not on full services, urban development, as Councillor Twaddle has said many times, not on urban services. Direct impact on the city. Last point, let's take a look at Cobble Beach. How many times did the city object to Cobble Beach? The answer is 0. Not once. That development was brought forward towards the city. I think some of it was before my time, but as far as I'm aware, the city supported it the entire time because it was urban style development on full services. So everybody wants to portray the city when we make negative comments. Of course, nobody points out on Cobble Beach we had no comments. The only one was on a traffic study that I still think is forthcoming, but had nothing to do with the servicing. So I'm glad we've had this opportunity to discuss it. I'm glad we've had the opportunity to clear up the misconception around the Kilsyth development. I support the motion from Councillor Wright because that's what we've been doing for the last, certainly my time on council and before. We comment on applications that have an impact on the city. The ones that don't, we write, as the 6 that were there tonight, we say no comment. So I'm slightly torn on this motion. I guess I'd ask for more clarification because unless you're going to define what has a direct impact on the city, well, I would suggest that we have been doing that. So I guess I'll ask for clarification when we get to the end on whether I'll vote for the motion or not, because in my opinion, that's just continuing the policy we've had for a number of years. Those are my comments. Thank you, Your Worship.
Okay. We have Councillor Purton.
Thank you, Your Worship. I am also a bit confused by the motion and wondering how the planning department would know which are the reports that have a direct impact on the city of Owen Sound, which they would bring and which they wouldn't bring. Who would the planning department would then determine that? I think that is all due respect to their planning department, there's a lot of good judgment there. I just don't know how that is supposed to work. Practically speaking, the guidelines, I think the planning department would have to have guidelines that were developed here at council to figure that one out. So I understand the thrust of this motion. I think Councillor Wright said that it was at our last meeting. It was we need to be more neighborly with our neighbors, and this doesn't feel very neighborly. But I think a proper review of planning documents by everyone who's involved is a good process. It's not being unneighborly to look at what we're doing. And our neighbors need to look at what we're doing as well and reviewing it and providing comment where necessary. I'm not unhappy with the way we are doing things right now. For the most part, it's very expedient. I don't think it's being unneighborly. It's just like when on my street, if somebody gets a building permit to make changes, I get notified and I can comment or disregard it. And I don't think that's an unneighborly process. So I think those are the 2 points. How would we ever have a different system and without any direction to the planning department? And I think we do want to communicate good faith in our neighbors and good work together with our neighbors. And I think this is one way of doing it, by making sure we're all reviewing carefully planning documents.
Councillor Twaddle.
Thank you, Your Worship. Quite frankly, in my view, this is a non-issue. It was raised at the last meeting. It has been misrepresented. Councillor McManaman pointed that out. What happened at the last meeting, there was never one word of criticism of the development in Kill site. There was a legitimate comment. No opposition at all to the development in Kill site, and yet it's been characterized frequently in this council chambers and in the media and in the public as an objection. It was not an objection. The motion before us really does nothing to clarify the situation. The process that exists right now is that we receive notice of planning applications in neighboring municipalities, as we are entitled to do. Out of those, we comment on the ones that affect Owen Sound. And for the record, the others come forward with the staff recommendation for no comment. 6 of them tonight, as Councillor McManaman pointed out. If we don't receive those planning notices, we will never be able to comment on the ones that do affect us. Councillor McManaman listed several that would have had a significant effect if we had not commented and made our position known. So, Councillor Wright's motion doesn't change anything from what's been going on, unless the intention is for the city to stop receiving planning notices from our neighboring municipalities. That, I suggest, would be a terrible error. We need to be kept informed as a council. We ask staff to make recommendations to us. Any one of us around the table can raise any one of those reports that come forward and say, I don't agree with the staff recommendation. We should be commenting on this. Or we shouldn't be commenting on it. And until it's passed by this council, it's not a comment by the municipality on anybody else's planning. But it is the only way that we, as a council, charged with the responsibility for protecting the interests of the citizens of Owen Sound, it's the only way that we as a council have of formally being informed. Just because we ask to see a planning notice doesn't mean we have to comment on it. And I would suggest if you go back through the minutes of many, many, many meetings of council. Far and away, the majority of them are not commented on. So I have no idea what the impact of this motion would be, because we as a council, requesting that the planning department bring forward a report or comment only on applications that have a direct impact on the city. That's what happens right now. The other reports come forward with the notation, no comment, with the staff recommendation, no comment. So, does this motion mean we're not going to receive planning notices? We're not going to ask for planning notices from our neighboring municipalities? Or does it mean status quo? As I read the motion, it doesn't change anything. I'm not going to support it because it just typically muddies the water. But this has all been turned into a tempest in a teapot by mischaracterizing what the report that came before this council 2 weeks ago said. And that's what I find most frustrating.
Any other speakers? Councillor Chamberlain.
Yes, and I'm sorry, I really didn't put up my mind to this very much because I didn't have all of the, I wasn't in attendance when this happened. I just like to ask the question, do the other municipalities receive notices of things that are happening in Owen Sound right now too, the way we're receiving theirs?
I'll defer to the Director of Community Services to comment. There's a protocol. It's under the Planning Act.
Yes.
And our Chief Planner can speak to that quite well.
Through you, Your Worship, the notice varies depending on the type of planning application, but if a planning application was within a certain distance of a neighboring municipality, it would be circulated to them and also to the County of Grey.
Any further speakers to this? Councillor Adair?
Well, yes, I don't like to be misrepresented either, but I did specifically say that Springmount and Sunset Strip and urban residential developments, I mean, getting to Colleen, Councillor Purdon's point about how does planning staff decide that, well, maybe this is the time for us to clarify what it is we would like planning staff to comment on and what we would like to have no comments on. In the past, we have actually commented on everything that comes from the townships by saying that we have no objection. Well, that's still a comment. And then there's the paragraph about as long as the county is doing its job. It's a little longer than that and maybe said a little more sweetly than that, but I think we need to have the discussion about what is it exactly that we wish to comment on. I think there is some consensus about that. The residential developments that Councillor McManaman has talked about, we did object to, and we should have, and the ones we didn't. But we need, I think, as a council, to define what it is that we are interested in commenting on with our neighbors, and not commenting on everything, even if it's to say we have no objection, which is still a comment, and it's probably not. I mean, my neighbor does a lot of things, and I don't comment on everything that they do, even though I have no objection to many of the things that they do. I don't feel it necessary to comment on everything that my neighbor does.
Councillor Wright?
Thank you very much, and thank you. I certainly appreciated all of the comments. I know that how this all started because I requested that we withdraw the Kilsyth comments. I just felt it was unnecessary for us to comment at all on a Kilsyth, the little Kilsyth restaurant. And by the way, that has always been a store and a bake shop, and it's in a campground, and it does have, it's not a little old house, but it's been a commercial establishment for quite a long time. And I just felt that was just a little, that really, I think Councillor Twaddle said that he appreciates the comments about things that affect the citizens of Owen Sound. Well, I don't think that store in Kilsyth affects the citizens in Owen Sound, nor do I think something up at Colpoys Bay affects the citizens of Owen Sound. I do believe that the motion is straightforward. It says comment only on applications that have a direct impact on the city of Owen Sound. And I appreciate how busy our staff is, and it's quite right that under the provincial policy statement, we are sent all kinds of things that we take a look at, and that should continue. There's certainly nothing wrong with that. I think that that's a great. It's just that I don't feel that if staff sees something that says no comment, why do we have to have it at council in our minutes? Why does it have to be public that's come? If there is something that affects us, then that comes to us. That I can see that. That was the whole idea, is don't bring us something that does not have an immediate impact on the city of Owen Sound. If it's something that's emptying into our bay or our water, yes, we need to comment on that. The same as when you look at Meaford and Georgian Bluffs on both sides of our harbor. That's their bailiwick. They have construction going on out there, homes being built. They have to have the same concern that we do about the effect of the water. The same with our water treatment plan. We've had spillage into the water. That affects their water as well, but yet I haven't heard anything come back from them. I just think that we need to spend more time not looking after things that have no impact on the city. That I certainly didn't intend this to be a firestorm by any means. Just let us deal with things that impact the city. We need to deal with those things. I quite agree. We need to look at them. I checked with both the mayor of Meaford, the mayor of Georgian Bluffs. I asked them, how do you handle the things that you get? And he says, we just put them aside and say, that's not our business. And so if there was an issue, I'm quite sure they would deal with it. I feel the same way. If there is an issue, we need to deal with it. But if it's something that is 10 kilometers outside our city or 15 kilometers outside our city, or as Colpoys Bay, why do we as a council need to have our planning department spend time on something that says it's no comment? I mean, we do have a county planning staff, and we do have a committee up there, and I don't know, I just feel that we're trying to do everybody else's job, and we don't need to. That's my basic concern, and my basic concern is that it just doesn't look good for us to be involved in what's happening. So, as I said, I did not intend to create a firestorm that has developed over that, and I do know that there was no objection to that restaurant. It was my objection to commenting about it. That's it. So let's vote.
Okay. We have the mover of the motion is asked to call the question, so we'll call the question. All those in favor? I'm in favor. Opposed? That motion passes. Yes, go ahead, Councillor Twaddle.
I'd move that this issue be referred to the Community Planning and Heritage Advisory Committee in order to establish some policy guidelines around what will come forward to council, so that staff has some protection in case something doesn't come forward and then somebody questions why we weren't informed. I think that was the main reason why we were getting in the way we were now, and I think it's very important that we establish this to give staff some boundaries within which to work.
May I have the first part of the motion? I didn't hear what you said the first part.
Sure, we'll just...
Did it go to planning, to the city planning?
Yeah, go to Community Planning and Heritage Advisory Committee to establish some policies to determine how staff would determine what to comment on or bring forward to council to see if council wants to comment. Because if council as a whole is not going to see all of these notices simply as matters of information, then staff needs to have some clear guidelines so that they're not put in a very difficult situation.
Okay, everybody understand the motion? All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. That's good discussion. And I think when these types of motions come forward, it's difficult because there are two things at play. And there's professional planners have a duty and a responsibility to comment and to consult on a variety of applications. And always, the Owen Sound Planning Department has the city's interests foremost. So I think that there's some confusion around perhaps the details of the intent of the motion. Politically is the other side, and I think those of us that are here around the table politically understand what the intent of the motion is, and that is certainly to allow our neighbors to do business and carry on business in the way they believe is best for their municipalities. So I appreciate the discussion tonight, and the subsequent motion I think will create some new and interesting discussion for council and some clarification for staff going forward. So thank you for that. We are at other business, and there are only two people present that have items of other business, and that is myself. I'd like to remind everybody June 13th at the Bayshore Community Center, there will be a meeting of mayors and leaders from around Georgian Bay to discuss the low lake levels in Georgian Bay specifically. Councillor Twaddle very generously served his time in representing us, representing me at these meetings, and a casebook has been developed which will clearly outline the economic impacts in particular for Georgian Bay communities and the current low lake levels. So that's June 13th at the Bayshore from 7 till 9 p.m. and all residents are invited. There'll be presentations by three individuals, and I believe there'll be some very healthy discussion that will ensue as well. So that was the one item, and the other item has completely escaped me. And it's come back to me very quickly. I would like to congratulate and ask council to acknowledge the city manager is now the vice president of the Ontario, now help me with this, Ontario Municipal Managers Association. Yes. So congratulations. I think this council is always supportive of members of staff who get involved in their professional organizations, and certainly brings the profile of the city to a larger audience, as well as provides us with new and current information. So congratulations on that. Councillor Purdon.
Could I ask just to make a very brief thank you and announcement?
Absolutely.
That I didn't. I wanted to thank all of the staff, in particular for their support of the Grey Bruce One World Festival. We had the 3rd annual festival on Friday, and I know all of the employees have to vacate the parking lot and move out of the way. Really appreciate that, and all the support of staff getting the parking lot ready. It was a very successful, albeit cold event. We had in total 1,000 people who came to the market square or to the concert in the evening, and a great success. So we really appreciate that, and that's celebrating the diversity of Grey Bruce, and we had lots of diversity and lots of fun.
Well, congratulations to the organizers and your work on that as well. I know when I stopped over, there was about 600 raucous students and their parents and teachers, and it seemed like there was a lot of learning going on and a lot of fun. So congratulations. We'll go to the city clerk. You have an additional item we're going to do in bylaws. Okay. Could I have a motion that the committee rise, please? Oh. Yes, please, Mr. Furness, come forward.
Thank you, Your Worship.
I'm marching us onward.
That's great.
Yeah.
For the last 2 years, the city has issued an RFP for street vendors for our downtown and our harbor, and we have not received any proposals. We have some suggestion that there is some interest out there, but the minimum bids that we have for those are too high. So what I would suggest. Sorry. What I would like to ask council is if we could remove the minimum. It's a $500 for the harbor and $1,000 for downtown. I'd like to remove the minimum and then reissue the RFP, and that'll invite everyone who's looked at it in the past or looking at it going forward in order to encourage street vendors for this year only.
Thank you, Councillor Twaddle.
So there would be no fee, or they would propose?
There would be no minimum, so it would just be an open proposal. So they would,
Okay, so
we would
they
still
could-
evaluate.
They could propose a fee.
They could propose a fee.
Councillor Lemon?
I will move the motion. I think it's a good idea. We may have got the price wrong, but I think that type of thing will attract people. Like, we've got a beautiful harbor. It'd be nice to have people down there, and this is the kind of thing that would help. And I think this is an innovative approach, because we can reject any bid if we don't consider it being reasonable.
Right.
And I understand this is for, the motion is for 2013?
2013, yes.
Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Furness. Anything else before us, Madam Clerk? Thank you. Madam Wright.
I just want to say, I really didn't say.
Councillor
what I
Wright.
say. I just want to say what a pleasure it is to have a council meeting in here now. It's just so different. It seems bigger. For some reason, it seems bigger. It's brighter. It's, thank you very much, whoever was responsible for our monitors. We can see the screen, what's going on. It's just, it may cause me to want to run again. You never know.
I love it. Councillor Adair.
Just on that, the acoustics in here are absolutely top notch. I mean, I can actually hear everyone else speak. I could hear the speakers talk out there. I'm assuming that everyone can hear me. That is actually a delight to be able to hear what's going on at a council meeting without having to strain to listen. And I'm sure that the audience we had here earlier were quite happy to be able to clearly hear what was going on.
I think for everyone, it's good to be back. Councillor Lemon.
Well, one thing that none of us are going to miss are those lights that was necessary for cable television are gone, because they were at times blinding. And in the summertime contributed a lot of heat to this room, which is not necessarily. And the thoughts of using stage lights for a council meeting is a little, not maybe suggestive.
Thank you. Resolution adopting proceedings in committee of the whole, please. Oh, I need to vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried.
The clerk gave me a motion that only requires one signature. Is that correct? No?
Signature.
Moved by myself, and I do have a signature for someone else, which I know has to be Councillor Boddy.
We all saw him.
The action taken in committee of the whole in considering public meetings, deputations, public question periods, matters arising from correspondence reports, matters tabled, motions for which was previously given, and other business be hereby confirmed by this council.
All those in favor? Opposed? The motion is carried. Any notices of motion? New business by resolution, bylaws, please.
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Boddy that bylaws 2013-093 and 2013-108 hereby be passed and enacted.
All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. We are now adjourned.